So when will the crypto bull market finally be back? I see this question all the time. And very often we're trying to base it on some short-term, quick movements in Bitcoin's price, or perhaps with these longer-term cycles, specifically the Bitcoin halving cycle, where every single time the halving comes, about a third into it, we reach a new all-time high. And from that perspective, right now should basically be bullish times. And I'd personally agree with that a lot. I'd say a lot of Bitcoin's price movements, which again reflect into our beloved altcoins like XRP and whatever altcoin you love, are quite cyclical. And one of those examples is it right here. If we take a look at Bitcoin's monthly returns, it just showcases that October is usually a very bullish month for Bitcoin. And what's bullish for Bitcoin, guys, is also extremely bullish for altcoins. We've got some data over the last decade, the last 10 years. And I'd say the trend is that the May to August area, or May to September, I should say, is the worst, which is basically the summer. And October is by far the best month in terms of Bitcoin's price performance. And I'd say out of all this, September is usually most neutral. Again, just taking a quick glance into the past here. February also seems to be, generally speaking, a very bullish month. Anyway, the idea is that there's a very high probability, and this might sound crazy, but hear me out, that just because the numbers have showed this prior, that we're going to repeat that. And it's not because price always or history always repeats itself. No, very contrary, the price very often does not repeat itself because there's no inherent reason for it to do so. The thing is, though, these are markets with people inside, and people, oh, damn. Microphone almost fell. People are quite predictable. And you might say, well, but there's a massive amount of market makers. There's a massive amount of high frequency traders who are trying to push it some way, or major institutions, yada, yada, yada. But I personally say the newest thing coming up that's changed over this decade, indeed, is guys like BlackRock coming in and showing who's boss. But for the rest, not that much has really changed over the last couple of years. And so if the same trend has lasted for over a decade, what would make it change? One quite interesting thing to look at is this right here, wealth distribution cycles, or the R-HODL ratio. We can, it's actually the text right above it. The realized HODL ratio is a market indicator that tracks the balance of invested wealth held within recently moved coins, so less than a week. And more mature hodlers, 1 to 2 years, in the chart, we've applied a 2-year half cycle median as a threshold value for periods where capital flow regimes transition between bull and bear market structure. We can see that by this measure, 2023 has seen a modest influx of new investors. However, the R-HODL ratio is only just contesting with a 2-year median level. The influx of new investors is positive, but relatively weak in momentum. And indeed, when I take a look at this, I'd say the same as almost anybody else. It looks quite predictable. It looks quite similar as these previous cycles, as these previous times. Anyway, I also like to refer back to this money flow in crypto picture, which shows fiat into Bitcoin, into large caps, into mid caps, into low caps. And the reason I'm showcasing this and bringing it to y'all's attention is because at the end of the day, even though many people would like to speculate and say that no, the cycle won't repeat itself, it's going to be different this time, we have not really seen any indication that it's going to be different. We have not seen any indication that cryptocurrencies are not as wanted as previous times around. You have these low periods and high periods. Right now we're in a low period, but everything points towards the idea that the same exact structure is going to happen time and time and time again as prices seem to go up. People will put their fiat into Bitcoin because that's an easy gateway in. But that might change into people putting their money into Ethereum or some of the big cryptos instead of Bitcoin first, because that is now starting to change ever so slightly. Then from Bitcoin, they go into some of the biggest coins out there. Right now, they might go from Ethereum to some of the biggest coins out there. And then as the market progresses, things get better, you basically diversify into riskier and riskier assets as you get higher and higher along this cycle. As the optimism basically increases, the risk also increases from the people, and they like to go for crazier and crazier things because why not, right? Everything is making you money. In the euphoria phase, people go for anything, and that's obviously also what crashes these markets. Anyway, I've also seen that people throw up the argument that, well, it's because the stock market is going to have the first crash in a long time, where the government is falling, this, that, this, that. And my response to that is, well, almost any one of these scenarios you can think of is inherently quite bullish for cryptocurrencies if you extrapolate it well enough. Think about it. Government falling, it proves that you can't trust government money, right? Stock market falling, it proves you can't just invest in the United States and be fine forever. Think of something that inherently shows that cryptocurrency should not go on an insane rush, because once the rush starts, the exact same thing is going to happen again. People are going to go into the main altcoins or main coins and then smaller and smaller as the prices keep increasing. Why will they go in though? Well, because of some incentive. And either it's the natural market where people just look for risk at some point again, or people notice the scarcity of cryptocurrencies and FOMO in, or the media starts picking it back up, or BlackRock allows for it. We do not yet know what that thing is going to be, but what I personally am quite convinced of is the moment that it does start again, this time around is going to be going harder than ever before, and perhaps the start of the good times again with a little controversy, a little push, perhaps some crazy movement can start again in October, because historically speaking, nearly every month has been a pretty damn bullish month. But then again, I do not think that that will be the start of the next massive run-up. I actually personally think it's going to take a significant amount more time before we see the massive gains again, as I do personally believe the all-time high will be somewhere in the middle of 2025. And so what we're basically in right now in terms of a phase is like this little October of 2019 phase or something like that, where again, you're not sure the price is going to come up or down on the short term. You just know that if you wait a couple of months, it's going to be going up a lot. So the best idea is to just DCA, dollar cost average, your buys, to make sure that once we're on that leg upwards again, you are golden. But it could be, like I said, October and perhaps November, December, we're going to see some more bullish months, which again is this little area, before coming back down ever so slightly, for example, January. And then as March comes back up, we're going to start rising massively. It could look something along the lines of this. So right now, for example, go up a little bit, have one little crash before the end of the year, and then start picking it back up. And basically, as the months go by here, reach that all-time high at whatever, a couple $100,000 per Bitcoin, perhaps 150K, perhaps 300,000, I do not know. And of course, as that happens, all these altcoins that we know and love will do most likely a little bit better than Bitcoin. And the reason I'm making this video here is to make you guys understand. This cycle is what the majority of major funds that I work with, that I know about, all believe in as well. And it's mostly the retail that seems to think, this time is going to be different. Or no, it doesn't work, or no, history doesn't repeat itself. Again, as I said, it's not going to repeat itself perfectly, and it might be a couple months off, but the general cycle is still set in stone until something crazy happens. But I do not believe that's going to happen before the next bull run. I believe the majority of these heavy regulations and crazy shutdowns will happen after the next bull run. Perhaps they're going to find some new scapegoat to let people be fearful of, and perhaps the crash is going to be so hard next time that indeed crypto might be in a shock period for a while. And that's why I kept on saying as well, this next bull run, at least cash out into some other asset ways, or just assets, I guess. Cash out to some other things to make sure you're always safe, because if you do not make crazy amounts of money this bull run, then I don't know how to help you. You can't be safe most likely, because I'm teaching you guys everything I know. And I know for a fact we are going to make an extreme amount of millionaires within 1 or 2 years. So if you're doing it wrong and you end up with no money at the peak of the next bull run, you probably didn't watch my channel good enough, or you probably didn't pay close attention, or you're just not committed enough, lazy, I don't know. Because indeed, it is that easy to make money in a bull run. It's strange for me to say, but it's actually extremely easy. All you got to do is be at the right place at the right time. But I'm telling you now how it's gone for the last decade, and I'm pretty convinced it's going to happen the exact same way again. And if it doesn't, I think it's very hard to lose money in all this. It's just only if crypto collapses and never comes back. But that's the risk we've got. That crypto is a fad. It's never going to come back up. And I don't believe that. So knowing that crypto is not completely going to go away forever, and Gary Gensler just said Bitcoin is not a security and everything like that, the best thing we can do right now is just buy our way down and understand that things are going to get better. We're going to have some good months. We're going to have some bad months. We can go for these short-term trades, or just wait it out, make sure we get our bags ready, and start going really, really hard in a couple of months as the steam picks back up. And so if you'd like to get even more insider information, or you'd like to get my analysis, or you'd like to be in a group of like-minded people who also want to make more money in crypto, join the Discord. I said it before, we're going to eventually go for some sort of inner circle type of group where only people who are really committed can enter, because why would you share all your information with everybody when they're never giving you something back, right? You want people that actually want to achieve something and are I guess, willing to do the work themselves too, or at least contribute in some way, shape, or form. But I don't want to launch anything like NFT or that type of garbage. I don't like that. For right now, I just want everybody in the Discord, and I hope that that's going to be fine enough. But we'll have to see as I kind of monitor everything. As I think this force that I'm building here, this little circle, can actually be like a little future millionaire club, you know, because there's going to be a lot of people who come from the dirt with $1,000 right now in their pocket. We're going to be millionaires in a year and a half, I think. But I don't want to keep making people dream this much. But the thing is, if you really understand the power you've got right now for being this early, not into crypto as a concept, right, but into the next cycle of things, you've got so much opportunity, you've got so much life left to get yourself in a good position. I personally see every single dollar I invest right now as like 10 future dollars as a baseline, but I personally think that multiplier should be way, way, way higher, especially considering the idea, whatever guys, you just understand my drift. That's all I'm trying to say here. I don't have any recommended books. All I'll tell you is understand the psychology of the market cycle, understand that this will happen time and time again, understand the stock market will at some point crash, understand how this works, the money flow in crypto. It goes from fiat to Bitcoin to large cap to mid caps to low caps, and then all the way back to, you know, either fiat or Ethereum/Bitcoin. And so the best thing to do is in these, you know, negative markets to buy our main assets, you know, the biggest of the biggest ones. And as we get towards some more bullish markets, we diversify into these crazier altcoins to make the real gains. Right now, we're mostly just playing it safe, waiting for the big rush. And yeah, I'll update you more soon as we know more. But October could be very juicy, and it's almost here, so get ready for it.